In this video, I'd like to show an enhancement to Illuminated Cloud's Static Resource Bundles feature. In case you're not familiar with Static Resource Bundles, it's a feature that allows you to manipulate the contents of archive-type static resources directly in the file system. This allows you to use the first-class editor features of the native IDE for HTML, JavaScript, image files, things like that, particularly when you're using HTML5 toolkits such as React or Angular and deploying that content as static resources. Up until now, when you manipulated static resource bundles in Illuminated Cloud, as you can see here, the resource file is replaced by the directory structure directly in line in the metadata directory. As files within the bundle are manipulated, the original static resource is recreated and deployed to the server. One of the most commonly requested enhancements for this feature is to place the resource bundle directory outside of the main metadata source root in a peer directory. The reasoning is twofold. One, it interoperates much better with other development tools that also support static resource bundles. Two, it works much better with features like version control and continuous integration, for example through the Force.com migration tool, that expect the contents of the source directory to be exactly what will be deployed to Salesforce. As a result, I implemented a new enhancement that allows you to select where the resource bundles are placed. So first, let's recreate the original resource so that we can then recreate the bundle after I reconfigure. Go into validation deployment and you'll see a new feature that says use a separate source root for resource bundles. So I'll make that change. You'll see this warning. Basically, it's telling you that if you have expanded resource bundles, you'll want to put those back into the original resource files before making this change. The reasoning is that some version control systems and some processes don't track changes across the file system very well, and I really want that to be under the developer's supervision. So I'll go ahead and just accept this now that I've recreated it. And now I'll recreate the static resource bundle. And what you'll see is that it's added a new source root called resource bundles as a peer to source, and it's expanded the archive type static resource into that area. And now if I manipulate resources, I'll just go ahead and navigate to one of the JavaScript files within here and make a change to it. And when I save, I've got it configured for deploy on save in this case. In the bottom right, you can see that the static resource has been recreated and is being deployed into the organization. Now it's important to point out that the original .resource file was automatically recreated based on the bundle contents at the point in time that I did this. So let's go ahead and create a new file as part of the bundle. And now you can see in the bottom right, it is also redeploying that. And it will do that not just for updates and creates, but also for renames, moves, deletes, really any change to the contents of the static resource bundle. If you'd prefer not to automatically deploy on contents change, you can use the exact same configuration option as before. When this is disabled, you have to perform an explicit deployment in order for the static resource to be recreated and the contents deployed into the organization. That includes force save. The basic idea is that deployment with static resource bundles should be a fairly seamless thing. Okay, so let's delete this new file that I added to my static resource bundle just to get it back in the original state. And then what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk about one other feature around static resource bundles that's slightly different when dealing with resource bundles in a separate source root. Typically when you retrieve metadata, the resulting directory diff takes place at the source level. However, because now there's a peer directory, resource bundles, the resulting diff actually takes place at the parent level. You may notice here that I'm not using the built-in directory diff tool from IntelliJ IDEA. I'm using the feature of IntelliJ to set up an external diff tool, in this case beyond compare, and I have it filtering out inconsequential differences. Turning that off, you can see that both source and resource bundles are displayed here. In this case, resource bundles has no changes. It is a notable diff. Now, if I were to do a retrieve of content that doesn't include static resources managed as resource bundles, you'll get the original diff at the source level. So it's pretty intelligent about what's retrieved to show you exactly what it is that you need to see. So here you can see that just classes are shown left and right. So it is a difference. Another thing I'd like to show is that when you perform a refresh, and let me make a small change here before I do that so that there will be an actual difference. When you perform a refresh on a file, it retrieves the static resource and it realizes it's managed as a bundle and offers an opportunity to merge into the existing bundle, recreate it, which will use the downloaded contents, or cancel the operation. So let's do a merge here. And what it will do is open the exact same directory diff tool with the downloaded static resource expanded and shown against your local resource bundle. So again, filtering things here so that I can not show the files that are not different, and I can see that the change I made in the comment on the right where I deleted it is different from the static resource that was downloaded from the organization, and I could choose to reconcile that however I want. Obviously this is a rather uninteresting change. What's important is that you get to decide whether the static resource retrieved from the org is the one that you want to use, or whether you have local work that needs to be rationalized with that and therefore merged with it. Similarly, if the static resource had been updated through some other source, for example, you updated your version control system and you decided that you wanted to recreate the static resource, it gives you the same options: merge, recreate, or cancel. Again, you may be getting incoming changes from the org through retrieve, you may be getting incoming changes through updates through VCS, and at that time you may have local changes that are not necessarily ready to be committed but need to be integrated with whatever that new source is, and it gives you the opportunity to do that. So hopefully this will be a useful enhancement to those of you working with static resource bundles. Thank you very much.